Good morning. This is Laurie with Laurie Lou here on YouTube, back with another fab journal collab with Thelma Hall and Bobbie Jo made this by hand. There are several other ladies participating. If you could look in my description, and please follow along with all of us as we create these journal pages this month. Every Sunday in May, we will be posting a journal page that we have created. This week I thought I would show you what I'm doing on this one, which actually has a name, and at the end you may understand why I'm calling it I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. Feeling a little bit nostalgic today on Mother's Day, so I thought I would get that song out of my head and down onto some paper. I'm using just masking tape here to create a little texture on my page, and I'm taping down some squidged up masking tape into the square sections of my page that was created by putting down some old tea bags. And when I put them down, the crossover made this natural path, and I thought, oh, that looks like a garden. Okay, that's where we're going with this. And so I'm just going to fill in these squares, and if you just follow along with me, I think you'll get my point about I never promised you a rose garden here in a minute. So are you all journaling? You know, you don't need fancy dancy supplies, although they're fun to play with, right? I am using for my collab book a altered composition book that I covered with a picture of some flowers that my husband and kids sent me when I was away on a trip, and then I glued 3 pages together in sections so that the pages would take some fluid, and that is what I'm using here. So we're almost got this. This is like watching paint dry, isn't it? Just a couple more in here. And I'm just, sticking them and squidging them all at the same time. Okay, so now I have my basic garden path built, right? And I'm going to start with Artist Loft green yellow, because if you're going to build colors, you want to start and stop in layers. And actually I'm going to start with the basics acrylic green and then move on to the green yellow, but I'm just taking a very little bit on a dry brush and tapping into, squiddling around in where that masking tape is. I don't want to lose the tea bag that made the garden path, so I'm trying to just stick to my tape. And I want to spin it, or dig in with the brush, not just brush it on, so that it gets in between all those hills and valleys I built by balling up the tape. Need a bit more of that. So we'll get that on. By the time we get to the 4th square, the first square will be dry enough that I can add the lime without creating a puddle of just color with no dimension. going to brush this off on my drop paper. With the green yellow, I'm just going to bounce that around and turn my brush, and I don't want to hide the darker green because, like I said, I'm looking for dimension here. Alrighty. Brush that off. I'm done with that. I want to be sure just brushing that off on my paint rag here. No point in getting it wet until I'm done. Now I've got some pink Liquitex mixed in with some ecru, and I'm just going to bounce that sparingly over the top of our little green space. And that'll be my third color. I'm calling that my light. I tend to work in 3s and 5s and 7s and 9s. I like the uneven numbers. To me, the uneven gives it the balance, right? So, brush my brush off and then stick that in the water because now I'm done with it. So, the next piece that I have for my page that I bought off of an Etsy shop, and I'm sorry, I do not remember. I've had it for a while, and I am horrible at names. So, remembering the manufacturer, what I wasn't really intending to do YouTube when I purchased it is difficult. It's a new habit I'll have to learn. So I'm going to put down some matte medium along my walkway. And I have these little floral stamps. Sorry if my hands are in the way. I'm new at this, as I said. And I'm going to make my walkway stepping stones out of the stamps, just leaving a little space between each one. I'm not worried about whether they're all facing the same way. Because they're stepping stones, right? They don't need to all be identical. We'll get that down when we put the top cover over. There we go with that. Now we're just going to put some matte medium over, so we're going to make sure that they're stuck down and holding into place. Not, mind you, that I expect this to last until my grandchildren are old ladies, but I would like it to last until at least I'm not looking at it anymore. And I'm only putting the mat over the walkway. I want the texture and the different sheens of the garden pieces to stay the way the paint came out. Okay, all that's left now is I will put a little bit of script that says, "I never promised you a rose garden," and it will be finished. Thank you for joining me today, and please check out the ladies below. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like, thumbs up, and subscribe. Thanks.